Alright, so a little bit for a different video today. Going to be doing a review of the Batman film post hype. So yeah, this is a Batman film that came out this year, 2022. Best film I've seen this year. Probably one of the best ones that came out in the cinema. But sorry, casting that back. But I'm making this video post hype after the hype has died down. After months after it came out. Because like when it first came out, a lot of people were putting out reviews. Very hyped up, very enthusiastic, very happy with the film. But a lot of people just see it like one time and they make a review, or they see it like, or they make a review the day after it came out or a week after it came out. But this is me having seen the film about like 6 or 7 times maybe properly, and understanding the film a lot and being a huge fan of it. So what I'd say is like this is one of the better Batman actors. Like, this is one of the best Batmans up there. I wouldn't say it's as good as Ben Affleck's. I'd say Ben Affleck's is a little bit better than Robert Pattinson, but Robert Pattinson is probably like a close second. He's quite quiet in the film. He's quite an introvert, but I kind of like that about him. He kind of feels a bit like Ryan Gosling when he plays the driver in the Drive film, or any kind of quiet Ryan Gosling character like in Blade Runner 2049 feels a little bit like that, mixed with Batman in a way. He has that kind of Sigma male, introverted kind of like feeling about him. You know what I mean? But yeah, he's quite relatable in a lot of ways because I do kind of act like that as well in my day-to-day life. Quite mysterious, quite uh, subdued, kind of don't talk a lot sometimes. But yeah, I'd say it's one of the most relatable Batmans. The way like he kind of just has his internal dialogue at some points in the film, the way he's like journaling his thoughts and like just being depressed and like acting like an emo teenager in a way. You know, I think is it's quite good, quite relatable. But yeah, I'd say like the first part of this film was quite like captivating. It was quite interesting, especially when you're watching the cinema. Like the introduction for the Batman. I think that might be one of my favorite parts in the film is like when he has the inner dialogue. He's walking through the city. By the way, this is gonna have some spoilers in it, so you should have seen the film by now. But yeah, gonna have some spoilers for the Batman. But yeah, he's like walking through the city. He's obscure. He's like observing the crime and all that, and he is using like fear as a tool. He's not. He can't, like he says, he can't be everywhere. But the fact that the criminals are uncertain where he is makes him more of a scary person. Because if you don't know where he is, he could literally be anywhere in the city. And you see that throughout the beginning of the film and the opening like little fight scene with him and that gang. Very good intro. Very like much a goosebumps moment, especially in the cinema when you first see it. It's just awesome. I couldn't stop smiling at certain parts, honestly. But yeah, I mean, I say this film, it does feel a lot like a detective film in a way. There's not a lot of action. There's a good amount of action. It's not like there's no action, but it doesn't feel like a kind of action Batman film all the time. Like sometimes it can drag, and people say that, and people say, "Oh yeah, it was boring here, or it didn't need to be that long." And I kind of agree in a way, but I don't mind that it was too long. Sometimes I do like kind of longer films, but some parts like where Catwoman was like in that club, like the 44 Below, talking to Coulson, that felt a bit boring at times, like a bit drawn out, but it wasn't too bad. Um, I'd say like some of the detective part, like in the Riddler's apartment and stuff, and that whole part near the end, it felt a bit long as well. But overall, I'd say they could have made it a bit shorter, made it a bit more fast paced, but it was pretty decent still. I like some of the kind of Riddler hostage kind of situations, like the first one in the church. That was very good, and I like the videos that was there, and I like the way they executed it. Because I remember one time, like in the comics, it's like he just kills someone, even though like Batman answered a riddle right, but in the film Batman can't. Well, they can't get the last riddle out, so hostage dies. But I like that scene. I did like it quite a bit. But I'd say, I mean, the main problem I have with this film is probably like the ending, because like the whole kind of flood thing that happens at the end, it felt a bit like unnecessary in a way. It felt like kind of forced. Like throughout the whole film, Riddler kind of just he just like kills people that like in some way kind of deserve to die in his opinion. But at the end, he kind of just kills like loads of people and just causes a massive flood. I thought there would have been like some like crazy like riddle like or puzzle or like moral dilemma kind of situation Batman would have to solve, but it was just like a bunch of people dying, I guess. But yeah, I would say it's a great film. Alfred was decent in it. He wasn't in it a lot, but he did a good job with the part, the amount of time that he was given, and the parts that he was in the film. Um, Catwoman was alright, but she was a bit annoying at times. She just kept on talking about Annika and just like kept on complaining about that whole thing. And there wasn't. I felt like there wasn't as much like kind of development with Batman and Catwoman. There was a bit, but it didn't get that close. If you know what I mean. It felt like Catwoman was still pissed off about that girl getting fucked over than Batman than caring about being with Batman. You know what I mean? That's kind of how it felt. I'd say I say Gordon did a perfect job. That was a good chemistry between him and the Batman. That was like they felt like close friends already. They felt like they're kind of like best friends in a way, and they worked well together. But no problems with him at all. Actually, Riddler. I liked the Riddler a lot. I liked how he was in the film, but I do think he could have had more screen time, and Falcone kind of like took up a lot of the time on the screen, so it kind of felt like it was kind of hard to balance them both out. And he was great in the trailer. He looked great in the trailer, and he had a cool voice. I think he had a bit of a different voice in the first Batman trailer, and I wish they kind of kept that. They kind of changed it. I think in some of the parts in the film they kind of changed it, um, which I wasn't too happy about. But it's not that bad. It's not a big deal. Like no one's really talking about it, but it would have been nice to have the original kind of Riddler voice that was in the trailer. But yeah, I mean, it is a fun film to watch. It is quite chill and like relatable for me at least to kind of because I feel like I had the similar kind of lifestyle as the Batman. He's I think one YouTuber said this is that he is kind of a bit like Kurt Cobain. The music kind of reflects his lifestyle as well because like Kurt had that same kind of weird kind of like night owl kind of lifestyle, just kind of self-destructive in a way, and that kind of reflects the Batman as well in a way. He doesn't really care about what happens to him if he gets hurt, if he gets killed. He's just going through things like in a just crazy destructive manner for himself. You know what I mean? Batsuit was great. Felt a bit kind of more thrown together. Didn't look too polished, but the pacing is good at times, but other times it's kind of like it does kind of like drag a bit. But the times are good, I'd say, are very good, like the penguin chase and stuff like that. Um, I'd say I'd say the action is decent. It's not like as good as some of the Ben Affleck fights as a Batman, but it is still very good. Ben felt more like a brute force in a way. It has some cool lines and like more felt more kind of yeah, it kind of felt it was definitely like a better fighter. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'd say this film I'd probably give it like a 9 out of 10 for me personally, which is very biased because I'm a huge fan of the character and this film as well. Uh, I've seen it a bunch of times. Could watch it again, and it's one of those like comfort films for me where it's like if I'm in a bad mood or just trying to chill out and not do much, I can just watch that film. You know what I mean? Uh, I don't need to think too much. Seen it a bunch of times, but yeah, I do like I do like the cinematography. The cinematography is like just perfect. There's nothing to complain about there, honestly. But yeah, uh, one of the best, probably the best. I would say it is the best Batman film. For a Batman film alone, it is the best one. Like you could say The Dark Knight's a better film, but when it comes to Batman itself, this is definitely the best one. And honestly, couldn't really recommend it enough. You have to see it for yourself. But yeah, I'm excited for the next film. couldn't really get enough of the Batman here. He was very good. I would say the film is not as good as I thought it was going to be. I kind of felt like it was going to be a masterpiece, but it wasn't quite as good as I thought it was going to be. But it was still very good. I still liked it a lot. But yeah, I mean, I'm running out of things to say, but I feel like there's something I want to say, but I can't think of it now. But yeah, just fun film, great kind of like inner dialogue, great kind of. I love the kind of vibe that they give Batman in the film. That kind of darker, just like more muted, figuring things out, kind of vibe. But yeah, the whole hostage stuff with the first ones was quite good. I think the other guys, it was not like no. I mean like the guy in the church like that. That was kind of like well executed. The other guys who died, uh, they were alright, but they weren't done the same way. They just kind of killed off on like there's letters left, but it's not like I can't even speak properly. It's like I wish there was kind of a bit more scenes like that, I guess, but it was alright. Yeah, great film.